Hey, if you like making money but hate making sales calls, I'm going to show you a simple process for how you can get folks reaching out to you. It's called the warm call. So, first of all, you already know enough to get booked if you're a coach, a consultant, and you're trying to make money online selling your knowledge. If you've ever had a job where you got paid, guess what? You know enough to get booked. The problem may be that you're just not easy to book yet. And there's a few ways you probably try to do it. The first is cold calling, which I absolutely hate for so many reasons. One is it does not feel well whatsoever. Another is it just weakens your authority when you're reaching out. So on my end, I've tried it before. I've tried to push through. I've tried to white knuckle it. It does not work for me whatsoever. I'm done. So what did I discover? Instead of running ads, instead of doing a bunch of promotions, a bunch of crazy stuff, I discovered what I call the warm call. And the warm call is when you're engaging with folks who have already engaged with your content, in my case on LinkedIn, and just asking them if they want more information. Therefore, you're not pushing anything. You're approaching with an offer, not an ask. So there's 3 moves. It takes about 15 minutes to do this. The first is you have to post something useful on LinkedIn. We'll talk about that in a moment, but some kind of post that catches your audience's eye, teaches them something, and afterwards you'll say, hey, if you want more information, DM me or check out my guide, right? That's step 1. Step 2 is you have to set up your away message on LinkedIn. Therefore, anyone who DMs you will automatically see that away message. And in that away message, you're going to have a link to your EveryExpert so you can get booked for more calls. I'll walk you through that process as well. So like I said, I'm not going to teach you how to write on LinkedIn, but the one thing you have to know is this. You have to start the scroll, and here's how I think about it. Imagine a busy New Yorker is walking down Broadway, and they're on the way to work. They're running late, and they see a magazine rack. What would have to be written on one of those magazines for them to stop and pick it up? That's how good your hook has to be. But a good hook is nothing if you don't actually teach somebody something, right? So based on your knowledge, your worldview, your perspectives, share a case study, a cool post, a cool trend, whatever it is. And at the end, you're going to say, hey, if you have more questions about this, DM me, right? It could be DM me, it could be check out my guide, whatever it is. The goal is to give folks a reason to message you and engage with you. That's it, because that's how we start the process of the warm call. Now, the next thing is this. You have to set up your away message before the post goes live. It's pretty obvious, right? So let me walk through that right now. Okay, so here we are on LinkedIn, and yes, you should follow me. But the next step is going to be to push these 3 buttons in the bottom right-hand corner here. Click on that, and then just hit Update Away Message. I'll hit that button. You see my current one here. Hey, I'm going to reply soon. But by the way, if you're reaching out with a question about using AI to cut the busy work in your business, you can grab a call with me right here on EveryExpert. So like I said, anyone who DMs you with a question, they're going to see that link automatically. They might go ahead and proactively just book with you as opposed to even continuing the conversation, right? So make sure you have this set up. All right, so that's it. That's the process. You're going to hit save. You now have your away message set up. Now, what I would say is keep it very simple. You can see a prompt here that you can go ahead and copy. The moral of the story here is just don't confuse folks by saying too much. You get to the point saying, hey, I'm going to get back to you soon. If you're curious about this, otherwise I'll get back to you. So for your message, you're obviously going to tweak it a little bit, but just make it very simple. Now, the cool thing about this is it's always on. So every single person who messages you is going to see that, right? You're promoting your services around the clock, but you're doing it in a warm way that does not feel cheesy or desperate. And if someone slides into your DMs trying to sell something to you, you automatically try to sell them something back as well, right? So it's a pretty cool way to mitigate that. From here, once they get the message, that's where the conversation starts. And what you don't want to do is pitch slap. And you know what that is. It's when someone DMs you and starts selling. That is not your goal right now, right? So here's an example of how you could respond to someone who DMs you. Have a conversation, answer questions, so on and so forth. Don't go back and forth too much though. If it's more than 2 or 3 volleys where they're asking questions, you're just giving away information, that's a sign for you to say, okay, hold on, let me pump the brakes and reply with something like this. Hey, great questions. And by the way, you might have seen my link in my away message. That's where I go deep in a paid session if you ever want to. So you automatically have this fallback, like, okay, you've asked a lot of questions, that's great. But if you scroll up a little bit, we can continue it on a paid basis. And then beyond that, the engagers. These are folks who liked, who commented, who maybe viewed your profile. You're just going to reach out to them proactively. You can send them a connection request and say, hey, I saw you engage with my post about whatever the topic was. And I'm curious, what caught your eye? What are you still chewing on? The benefit of this is 2 things. One is you'll start creating better content, right? Because you're asking folks, what did you like about my content? You'll use that information to make more content. And then beyond that, these folks might end up booking a call with you as well. So you can't lose because you're either making money or getting information from your audience. Now realize this is part of a ladder, right? Every reply tells you what your people actually care about. Maybe it's the content, maybe it's the services, whatever it is, but you get better and better and better at doing your job. And it's all part of a value ladder you might have as well. So at the very beginning, you might have some kind of lead magnet, maybe it's your newsletter, some kind of guide, whatever it is. And in that, you can then lead to your Every Expert link, right? So at the bottom of your cheat sheet, you can say, if you have questions about this, go ahead and book a call with me, and or directly from your LinkedIn, like we said, you can do that too. Now, once someone's booked a call with you on Every Expert, they have pre-qualified themselves as someone who will pay for your expertise and someone who actually invests in their own knowledge. From there, you can upsell to other things such as a VIP day, right? A VIP day, sit down for 8 hours and help them with all their problems, or stretch this out into a longer engagement through a retainer or a project. Either way, that first call you have on Every Expert is a low-risk way for both of you to start working together. On the other person's end, the client's end, they get to know who you are, try you out a little bit, and feel more comfortable investing in a larger project with you. On your end, you're making sure you're not taking on a client that's going to be a headache. Because if that first call does not go well, you can say, okay, good luck, I'll talk to you later, and be on your merry way. So it's a great way to build your overall business. That's why it's worth putting so much effort into this process. So on your end, here's what I want you to do. Block some time off to put this together and then give it a month to run. So if you have 15 minutes or so right now today, do it. Go ahead. If you can't, just put 30 minutes on your calendar this week, because planning to take action is still an action. After that, run it like once a week, and that depends on how often you post, but try about once a week and see what happens to these conversations, and give it a month or so before you judge it. You might find some posts work better than others, or some approaches work better than others. Then look at what works and make small changes. When this is your system, you got to run it. It does take time to compound, but obviously it's much easier than doing those cold calls. It probably works better too. So that's it. That is the warm call. There's no cold calling. There's no pitching strangers. It's just value, because when you're reaching out to folks, you're reaching out to them with an offer, not an ask. Now, on your end, if you try this out, if it works, please do let us know, because what we want to do is actually feature some of you experts on the newsletter as well as social media. So when you get that first win, let us know so we can celebrate right along with you.